Hello, hello. So today we're gonna study chapter 3.
Wow.
Wow, do you know what chapter 3 is about?
I don't. What is it about?
We have to guess what the underlined phrase or sentence means.
Oh. So maybe reading between the lines.
Exactly.
Wow.
All right then. Let's get down to business. Exercise 1.
Very good.
Click. All right,
Wonderful.
first of all, can you read a text?
I can. Shall we put some vocabulary on the text?
Please. Click.
Wow.
All right,
Fantastic.
then. Here we go.
Here we go. We are often told that there is no innovation without competition, which is absurd, given that most of the greatest innovations in science and technology have resulted from the sharing of research across academic silos, national borders, and language barriers. In truth, no great innovations occur in isolation. Personally, I have been asked to sign an awfully large number of non-disclosure agreements from other researchers terrified that their ideas will get out. But in truth, I've found this approach counterproductive. Those who hold their cards too close to the vest are rarely the ones who play the winning hand. It is when we share our finding with people with other areas of expertise or perspectives, or seek feedback about our concept from someone in a different field, or try out our idea with potential users, that suddenly the real potential starts to emerge.
So, what do you think the story is about?
Well, it's about innovation.
Innovation.
So progress, especially in things like science.
So, when does innovation happen then?
According to this person, it happens best through a culture of sharing ideas.
I see. By sharing, your findings with other people, innovation can happen, right? All right, then we can easily guess what holds their cards too close to the vest. Like this, eh?
Yeah. So a vest is a type of garment or clothes. And often this expression is too close to your chest, right? Because not everybody has a vest. But in the old days, the cowboys all had vests. And so it's to hold your cards so no one can see them.
Yeah, you're not showing your cards, right?
Yeah, I'm hiding them.
Yeah.
And so it's to hide your ideas, your thoughts, or emotions.
I see. Then that means we can easily guess the answer. The answer is number 2.
Ooh.
Refuse to share their ideas with others, right? Click, click. One more. Excellent, excellent. So when we share ideas or findings, innovation can happen, right? So how do we know? First of all, do you often use that expression, hold their cards too close to the vest? Is there any expression in English like that?
Yes, it is an expression.
Really?
It is the expression. And even here we have who play the winning hand. So the cards in your hand are called the hand. When you're speaking about card playing or poker, things like that. So to play the winning hand means that you're the winner of that game. There's lots of expressions that use cards within the expression.
I see. So that expression, number 5, those who hold their cards too close to the vest are rarely, because there is a rarely, those people who keep things secret, they're not successful, huh?
That's right.
They cannot win. That means.
They use the word in this text counterproductive.
That's
So
right.
against progress.
Yeah, sentence 4, right? So if you keep things secret, that kind of approach is not
Yeah.
that kind of approach is not successful, right?
And they even say they have to sign a large number of non-disclosure agreements.
Yeah, that's his personal experience, right? So he was asked to sign non-disclosure agreements several times.
That's
you know?
right. And that means you are required by law, by contract, to keep secrets.
Yeah, but he doesn't like that idea, huh?
Yeah, he thinks it is, as he said, counterproductive or not good for the progress of science.
So you can get the gist from sentence number 2. In truth, no great innovation occur in isolation, right? What does that mean?
So in isolation alone, right? The idea is that all science builds on other ideas and technology.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the last sentence too, the writer emphasized how important it is to share your ideas or findings with other people, right? So
Very good.
we can easily find the answer number 2.
That's right. So think of themselves as always right? No.
They don't think about,
Right, because
right or wrong.
exactly they're thinking about collaboration, mixing ideas. So your idea is not always the best. You need others.
What about number 3?
Number 3 says are not ready to accept innovative ideas.
It's not about accepting ideas, eh? What about number 4?
Steal someone's idea without saying anything. Oh, bad person.
It's not the answer either.
No.
And number 5?
Cherish the time. Cherish means to hold tight or appreciate. Cherish the time they spend with a special person.
Totally wrong.
Nothing to do with the story.
Yeah. All right then. Let's move on to exercise number 2.
Very good. Shall we get our vocabulary?
Please. Okay, can you read the text?
Yes.
Okay then, here we go.
Are you ready? A family from Israel who moved to Northern California was amazed by the isolation they experienced when they moved into their San Francisco neighborhood. They had lived in a kibbutz where they experienced a strong sense of community in every sense of the word. When we moved here, said the father, it was culture shock. People nodded and smiled with a brief hello coming and going, and then disappeared into their own dwelling. And we wouldn't see them again for days at a time. One night, my wife suggested that if the mountain wasn't going to come to Muhammad, then Muhammad must go to the mountain. It was at that point that we realized we had a gift to bring to our neighbors, the gift of community. Over the next few months, the family organized a block party, a neighborhood yard sale, and an open house brunch. Each was a big success. People became friends and the connections snowballed. A small babysitting co-op began in the neighborhood, as well as a family neighborhood cleanup event that took place at the beginning of each season on a Saturday morning.
All right.
Wonderful.
So, what is the story about?
Well, it's a story about a new immigrant family.
So, where did they live before?
They lived in Israel.
Israel. And then moved to where?
To California, USA. San Francisco. I
San
think, yeah.
Francisco, huh?
And they had, they felt lonely, I guess, when they first arrived because the culture was different.
Yeah. In their hometown, they had a strong sense of community, right? A
That's
strong
right.
sense of community is kind of a jung, isn't it, in Korea?
Yes, and for the Jewish people who live in kibbutz style, kibbutz is a sort of commune. It's a community living environment.
So they're helping each other, they're very friendly, right?
Yeah, very tight and close-knitted. So in Korea, jung
Yeah.
is very much like that.
But after they moved to California, how did it feel? Like the neighbors, they just say hello and then that's it, eh?
Yeah, so they say everyone was friendly, but not closely connected. And so I think that was a culture shock for them.
So the underlined sentence, Muhammad must go to the mountain.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Well, Muhammad is a personality, a person from religious context. So these are stories from different religious Bibles. And the idea is that you must be the agent of your own success or progress.
So if something doesn't work, you have to do something about it, right?
That's right. You must take the action.
I see. Okay, so we can guess the answer then. The answer is number 3. The family should first approach the neighbors, right?
That's right.
So they should not wait the neighbors to approach them. Instead, they can approach first, right?
That's right.
Oh, look at that. Huh?
And again, we have our wonderful PPT
Yeah.
from
Gae Mi
That's right.
Saem.
Gae Mi Saem, yes.
All right, so the first one. The family should go back to their hometown. Wow, that's mean, huh?
Yes, that is so mean.
Yeah, it's not the answer.
That's not the answer.
So, because
at
after
all.
that sentence, what did they do? They threw parties and...
That's right. They approached the neighbors with events that would gather them and make them have memories and experiences together.
Yeah, so like a block party and babysitting, each other, right?
Yeah, and a brunch, which is a mix of breakfast and lunch combined.
Yeah,
so it's a
so-
late breakfast, big sort of lunch
So
event.
the wife suggested that, and then they get to have a chance to get to know each other, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so number 2, problems of the community can be postponed. They didn't talk about postponed. They didn't
No.
talk about postponed.
And the community didn't have problems.
Oh yeah, it was just the way it was, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a problem. I mean, everyone was friendly and
Yeah.
polite, but
Yes,
they
they're
weren't
allowed to.
close. So, I mean, it's not a problem, but they made the situation better.
Yeah, that's right. And number 4, cooperation is essential for the protection of the nature. Nature? Hello, they did not talk about nature.
No.
Right?
No, different story.
Yeah.
And number 5?
The cause of the neighborhood conflict must be removed.
Was there conflict? So, very similar to number 2, there were no problems or conflict. Everyone was nice and friendly. They just didn't know each other. They weren't friends.
Okay, so though you can always guess what the underlined sentence or phrase means in the context, right? But you do use that expression a lot, right? Mohammed must go to the mountain in English.
Yes, it's a well-known expression. Like anything from a religious context, all the stories from the different Bibles of the Quran for Muslims or the Christian Bible, the Jewish Torah, I believe it's called. They have similar stories, but all the stories are sort of well known as, like Aesop has lessons to teach you.
That's right.
The Bible has lessons in their stories.
So the full expression is, one more time, what is it?
You should be the agent of your own success, I would say. So your actions will determine your success.
Okay then. All right. Okay, now let's move on to exercise 3.
3.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go. So let's do our vocabulary.
Uh-huh.
And I shall read for us. Okay.
Okay.
It may sound rather trite to say that the first function of the picture is to show its object. But the object of the picture is not always the one you think it is. It's obvious through the photographs the journalist brings back from the field that he shows the situation he witnessed. Through the paintings he produces, the painter shows his subject as much as his own sensibility. And the filmmaker, through the film he makes, can also show his own vision of the world. Thus, through these few examples, you can understand that behind the open door, several differences are hidden. But perhaps that's not the main thing. In fact, whether it's fictional or informative, it is very rare that the picture isn't accompanied by a comment, however incomplete it may be, that specifies its meaning or context. It may be a title in the case of a painting, an article of several hundred words in the case of a press photo, or the outlines of a scenario in the case of a film.
Okay, very good. So what is the story about?
It's the purpose of this chapter is reading between the lines, and this is really what this story is about. It's saying the photos or paintings, film that you see have an underlying context.
Underlying context.
Reading between the lines. Yeah.
That's right. So there are three different visual art, right? Painting, picture,
And film.
and film, right? So sometimes they show the pictures, but it won't be the one what you think it is, eh?
Right. There's more meaning to it.
So here, behind the open door itself means it can be just the picture itself. But behind the picture itself, there are several different meanings, right?
Right. So the idea is that you can open a door and you can see through the door, but you might not see everything. There's stuff behind the wall still. So you have to go into the room to get the whole picture.
So we can guess the answer, right? The answer is number 2.
Visual art includes the underlying message of its creator.
What does underlying mean?
So it's really reading between the lines.
Yes,
It's
a
an
hidden
extra,
message.
A double meaning almost.
I see. But sometimes it's hard to catch, what the writers or creators, want to say. But there's always what? It comes with comment.
A comment or a caption or a title. They said also for paintings especially.
For the paintings, they have a title. And for articles, for the press photos, what do they have?
A few words, 100 words or some words.
Articles, right? And for films, they have outlines of scenarios, right? So you can guess, or not just read, or what.
Yeah, that's right. And so the artist can give more information about their intent. And so it doesn't have to be all your interpretation.
All right, then let's take a look at the other options. Can you click the buttons though? The rest
Yes,
of the
here we
buttons?
go.
Ta-da, ta-da.
Wow, fantastic.
All right. So number 1, can you read it?
Artists are sensitive to changes of the environment.
They didn't talk about any environment, right? And sensitivity.
Yeah, so it didn't say that artists... It didn't bring up the artist's feelings. It brought up only their intent, the meaning.
Okay, number 3, can you read it?
Painstaking efforts are required in the creation of artwork. Well, that's true, but it doesn't say how difficult it is to make art.
Yeah.
It just talks about the result of the art after it's finished.
Yes, they didn't talk about how difficult it is, to create visual art.
Yeah, and that's what painstaking means. It means
It takes pain.
hard labor, time and effort.
And number 4,
It is necessary for artists to hide their intentions in their works.
do they hide it? Do they hide their intention? They usually show with the what? Comments, right?
Sure. The work of art itself is promoting their intention, so they're not hiding their art.
Yeah,
So I think that's not good at all as a possibility.
yeah. And number 5,
There are several differences between paintings and photographs.
they didn't talk about any differences, eh?
No, they weren't comparing. This was not a comparison of different styles of art.
Yeah.
So that's not correct either.
Yeah, they did talk about paintings and photographs, but they didn't talk about differences, right?
That's right.
Between them. All right, then. So the answer is number 2. Okay, now time for exercise 4.
Fantastic. Here's our vocabulary from our wonderful PPT.
That's right. Can you read the text?
Yes. We
Here
ready?
we go.
To destroy a whale is a monumental denial of life and merely one symbol of the human species' rather recent hatred for the world. We have named one whale Killer, but that shoe best fits the species who possesses feet to wear it. Whales are more appreciated than ever, and whale watching yields more lucre than killing does. In that appeal to our self-centeredness lies their best hope. But even if all of us gain the emotional and intellectual maturity to finally divest ourselves from harming them, we may yet lose them in an ocean of plastics, chemicals, fishing tangles, spinning propellers, speeding hulls, and noise. All whales now have trouble competing with the aquatic primate for the fishes of the seas. The more humans fill the world, the more we empty it.
My.
So it's quite an activist story.
What is the story about?
Well, as I said, it's an activist story. So it's an animal rights context, I believe. And it's about how humans are creating extinction among animals, specifically whales.
So we are killing whales, right? So the underlying phrase, sentence in this time, that shoe best fit the species who possesses fit to wear it. Oh my God, what does that mean?
So the expression is if the shoe fits, and that means you match the situation perfectly. Okay.
So the shoe in this context means the killer, right?
Yes, and so only humans have feet that fit shoes because we make shoes for us. And so yes, exactly. And so it's saying that we are the killers.
So we are calling one of the whales killer whales, right?
That's
There's
right.
a name actually, 범고래, killer whale.
Or orca.
Orca or killer whale, right? But we are the ones who kill whales, not the other way around, not the opposite, eh?
Yeah, it's just because that whale happens to eat meat. And so it gets that nickname, or other animals also get sort of vilified, we say, made bad guys.
So according to the context, we always kill the animals, the whales, right? But 1/4 whales, what is it?
A whale watching. Tourism, basically.
Yeah, whale watching, it makes more money, right? So in that way, we can kind of save whales, right? For our benefits, actually, not for the whales,
Yeah, that's right. But sometimes that's the angle you have to go for in order to preserve a species. And so, the whale watching makes more money than killing whales.
That's right. So that's why they said in that appeal to our self-centeredness lies their best hope, right? So that way, by watching, whales, we can save them, right? But we are still killing them. Still, how?
Oh, because of our lifestyle. So our plastics, it says, our chemicals, our noise,
pollution,
and everything,
right? And also we also eat all different kinds of fishes, right? So they have to compete with human, right?
For their food
For their
source.
food source.
Yeah,
That's right.
And so we're still, even if we stop killing them and just watch them, our lifestyle and culture will still result in them dying.
That's right. So we can guess the answer easily, right? The answer is number 2. Humans kill whales, not the other way around. What does that mean? The other way around?
Not the opposite.
Not the opposite. So the other way around means opposite?
Yeah. So humans kill whales, not whales kill humans.
I see. All right, then. So let's take a look at the other options. Whales, can you read it?
Yeah. Whales are the top predators in the ocean. Predator is hunter. No, because I think the story is saying we are.
That's right.
Yeah. Humans are.
And number 3?
Humans can prevent whales from being harmed. Well, in one way, yes, but it says our lifestyle kills them anyways. So
they only mentioned that by watching whales, right? We can kind of, protect them.
Yeah, but our plastics and chemicals and
we're
lifestyle
still
still hurts them.
And number 4?
Whales have evolved to survive harsh conditions. Well, that's true, I'm sure, but
But
that's
they
not
didn't talk about it, at
it's
all.
not the point of the story at all.
And number 5?
As a species, humans are like all other life forms.
Did they talk about it?
No, and actually they say we are the killers, not animals.
That's
Like
right.
we're the mean killers.
So this question, if you just take a look at the underlined sentence, it can be a little difficult, right? But always you have to find the answer in the context. Try to find the gist of the story, right?
That's right. Exactly.
Okay then.
Very good.
Let's move on to exercise 5. Click. Oh.
Very nice.
All right then. You can click the vocabulary button.
Here we
There
go.
we go. So can you read it?
Yes.
All right then. Here we go.
There are people who do not obsessively go after the latest digital devices, taking their time before changing hardware. There are even some people who have developed a taste for vintage technology, not only for vintage decoration or fashion. None of these cases reveal an ultimate or total renouncement of technology, but rather a temporary interruption of its use or a preference for a slower pace. We consider it appropriate to include in this list the so-called slow movement, with its taste for slowness and tranquility, since often technologies are used precisely to speed up some processes in life. The movement was born as an alternative to fast food, but quickly it spread to other realms of life. Whoever chooses slowness may indeed practice a form of technological silence. In this path of slowness, we also find the many forms of meditation, whether traditional or new, that are so fashionable nowadays and that can be seen as a way to temporarily refrain from technology.
Excellent. So what is the story about?
It's about people that don't immediately get the new gadgets or technology.
So it's the opposite of early adopters.
That's right. Yeah.
There are some people who are crazy about the latest digital devices, huh? They
That's
line
right.
up sometimes early in the morning, huh, to get the newest one.
That's right. Right now, this past 6 months or so, the PlayStation 5 is sold out every month.
Oh my God.
And so it's all these early adopters. Everybody wants it new right now.
Yeah.
Some people are content just to wait.
But this story is not about the early adopters, right?
It's not about that. It's about people who are willing to wait. And
Slow movement, right?
yes, and also even prefer older technology, vintage.
Yeah, vintage, right? So we can guess the answer easily then. Huh? Here, the underlined phrase, practice a form of technological silence. What does a practice mean in this sentence?
Indeed,
Conduct, maybe?
yeah, to maintain a lifestyle, right? To continuously live a certain way.
I see. So silence, you can guess even, huh? Slow movement, things like that.
Quiet, and the good word here is tranquility. Tranquil is slow and silent.
And the first sentence, take their time.
Take their time.
So the answer is number 1. Take a break.
Dun, dun,
Take their
dun.
time from using technologies, right?
Yes, very good.
Okay, so number 2. How come number 2 is not the answer? What is it?
So, disconnect oneself from work temporarily.
They didn't talk about work,
No.
Maybe disconnect yourself from technology a little bit. Yeah.
That would be a better possibility. But yeah, in fact, work might actually make you adapt technology into your lifestyle. So for me, I'm a little bit like taking my time before I change hardware.
Yeah.
But work has actually pushed me to get new hardware because I had to do it for work.
That's right. And what about number 3?
Learn how to fix common technology issues.
They didn't talk about common technology issues, right? How to fix it, they didn't talk about
No,
it. Right?
not about fixing.
Okay, what about number 4?
Relate to the designs and fashions of the past.
Ooh. Oh, because they talked about the vintage fashion, eh?
That's right. So they actually use these words, so be careful.
As a distractor.
It is a distractor, yeah. But the story was not about fashion.
Not at all.
It only mentions vintage.
To explain the vintage technology, right?
That's right. So, for example, in Korea, older people still have flip phones.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's vintage technology, but some people like those.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. And number 5?
Combine technologies with traditional activities.
They didn't talk about combining stuff and
No.
traditional activities.
Yeah. So number 1 is the best answer.
So it also talks about how slow movement started. Eh? How did it start at the beginning? As an alternative to fast food, right? So we had a slow food,
Yeah.
instead of fast food.
Returning to enjoying the culture of food and the preparation of food. And then it sort of expanded into all areas of your life, including technology.
Yeah, even technologies and fashions and everything. Eh?
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. So the answer is number 1. Take a break. That means take their time, right?
That's right.
And from using technology is the answer. So it's about slow movement. Time for exercise 6.
Very good. Here's our vocabulary.
Okay. Can you read the text?
Yes.
Okay then. Here we go.
Modern scientific writing in English began in the 17th century, with authors such as Francis Bacon, Robert Boyle, and Isaac Newton. This period was characterized by intense debates over the nature of language generally. At issue was the presumed power of words to control knowledge, as Bacon put it, to force and overrule the understanding, throw all into confusion, and lead men away into numberless empty controversies and idle fancies. Bacon was thus the first to claim revolt against Elizabethan styles of writing, which of course included Shakespearean drama. These, he said, pulled a veil between the intellect and the world. To advance knowledge, especially the new experimental philosophy, there was a simple, direct, and unadorned form of speech needed. This would lift the veil and provide an equal number of words as of things.
What a story. It's a little difficult, eh?
It's a little difficult to understand.
So what is the text about?
It's about a change in language.
How?
So it went from difficult and elitist and changed to easier to understand for everyone.
Oh, I see. So the difficult one is Elizabethan styles of writing, and the easy and simple one is
the modern
scientific writing.
That's right.
So how different,
The Elizabethan style was meant for only highly educated, maybe, and it was always very difficult and we'd say convoluted, not easily understood. The new modern language was easily accessible for everyone to speak and write.
I see. So with that, we can easily guess what the underlying phrase means. Unequal number of words as of things. It means more. It talks about modern scientific writing, right? So the answer is
Number 2. Plain and clear
description of the word.
Very good.
All right. So what does plain means, first of all?
Plain means simple and
clear.
Clear, that's right.
I see. So there's a big hint, right? So the sentence right in front of it, it says, the sentence right before 6, it says, there was a simple, direct, and unadorned form of speech needed, right?
Yeah, unadorned form of speech, meaning not fancy. Yeah.
So even though the text is a little difficult to understand, you can guess,
Because number 1 says an ideal language for creative writing.
They didn't talk about creative writing, huh?
No. Number 3, a linguistic outlet for emotionally charged ideas.
What does that mean? Linguistic outlet?
So linguistic means language. So a method of language for emotions.
They didn't talk about emotionally charged ideas, huh?
Especially since they're focusing on scientific writing.
Make it simple, huh?
Yeah.
And number 3, 4.
Opportunities for collaborative work among authors.
No,
Not
they
at
didn't
all.
talk about collaborative work
No.
among authors.
And
number
5
5?
is underlying reasons for using writing rather than speech.
They didn't compare writing versus, they didn't compare writing with the speech, right?
Not at all.
Not
yeah.
at all.
So number 2 is the best answer.
Yeah. Even though it's a little difficult, always, you can find the answer. Huh?
There are clues.
There are clues. All right, then. Shall we move on to exercise 7?
Very good.
Woohoo! It's a little long, huh?
Oh my. We can do it.
We can do it. And vocabulary.
Ooh.
Can you read?
Yes, here we go.
Here we go.
That so many species now live alongside us in human-modified environments, whether on intensive farmland in Britain or in regenerating forest in Costa Rica, it is not to say that any human society, past or present, has ever lived in harmony with nature. This is absolutely not the case. The harmonious coexistence of humans and the rest of nature in the distant past is a romanticized and largely fictional notion. Present-day conservation often attempts to recreate these idealized ecosystems. For example, by the reintroduction of hunter-gatherer style burning of vegetation in America, Africa, and Australia, and by reinstating now uneconomic medieval farming and forestry practices in Europe and Asia. In truth, our relationship with nature is, and always was, less romantic. We eat nature. We take up space that wild nature would otherwise occupy. We have used whatever technologies have been available to us at a particular time to consume or oust wild creatures, often with great success. As a consequence, we are living through a time of extinction.
Wow. My. So the underlying sentence is our relationship with nature is present and always was, past tense, less romantic. What does that mean?
It means we have never had a good relationship with nature. We have always been the abuser or user of nature.
Yeah. But in the past, it looks like we lived harmoniously with the nature, right? But that was fictional.
It was fictional, a romantic idea of a balance between humans and nature. But always humans have used nature to our benefit.
Yeah, what did we do to the nature? We
hurt it.
We eat nature. We use whatever technology is available, to kick them out, right?
That's right. To kick out the animals and use up all the
space.
Vegetation and space. Yeah.
Yeah. And what's happening to them, right now?
Extinction.
They're dying out, right?
That's right.
So we can guess the answer easily. The answer is number 1.
Dun, dun, dun.
So humans have failed to be in harmony with the natural environment, right?
Yeah, humans have failed to be in harmony with the natural environment. And we have to be careful. We have lots of the same words in each of the options.
Yeah.
So we have to read it carefully for this one. So number 2 is the human-nature relationship is inseparable from its cultural context.
It's not about inseparable, huh?
Yeah, it's very difficult options to understand. So the human and nature relationship is inseparable from cultural context. You're right, it doesn't talk about that.
Yeah.
So you have to read it carefully, guys.
It is about human and nature, but it's not about whether we are inseparable or not, eh? Didn't talk about it.
No, it just talks about our abusive relationship with
I
nature.
see. What about number 3?
Humankind is simply a part of nature, and its effect on nature is natural.
So why is this wrong?
Well, we could argue that is true, but that's not what the story is about. Humans are a natural animal, and what we do to nature is, in a way, natural, but that's not what the article is about. The article is about our idea of our effect on nature, right? We have this idea that it's romantic in the past, but it was never romantic.
That's right. Number 4?
Human pressure on nature has gradually declined since the medieval period. Completely wrong.
Yeah.
Our pressure on nature has increased exponentially, very, very much.
Yeah, that's right. And number 5?
Advancing conservation and human development is not an either-or proposition.
Oof. What does that mean?
So, to advance conservation, saving the environment, and human development, if you want to advance both, it doesn't mean you can have one or the other. Okay, so, but it's not talking about this. It's not talking about how we do both or only have one. It's still, remember, it's talking about how we perceive our past experience with nature.
Yeah, they did mention, conservation, present day conservation, try to confuse, students, eh?
Right. These answers are not easy reading.
Yeah.
So it really takes a lot of effort to try and find the answer here. But it is available to you. Humans have failed to be in harmony with the natural environment.
Yeah, because they try to use, a lot of words from the context, right? I mean, the
That's right.
text,
Yeah. So it's a difficult one. It's a difficult one.
Again, though, you try to get a gist of the text, eh?
That's right. Exactly.
All right, then, let's move on to the last one. Exercise 8.
Fantastic.
Wow, finally, the last one.
Oh.
So, are you ready?
I am ready. Here's our vocabulary on screen.
All right, then, here we go.
Emerson said, "What you are speaks so loudly that people can't hear what you say." Of course, one of the greatest principles of effective advertisement copywriting is to believe yourself what you are trying to make others believe. Somebody asked me in the marketing course I was giving at New York University, "What do you think is the first requirement for success in advertising?" I said, "Good health." That is nothing to laugh about. I can't conceive how a dyspeptic could write good mincemeat copy, or a man with rheumatism could write about the joy of riding over mountain roads in an automobile. You have to have good human equipment to enjoy the things you're trying to sell, or you can't make other people enjoy them. I believe the public has a sixth sense of detecting insincerity, and we run a tremendous risk if we try to make other people believe in something we don't believe in. Somehow, our sin will find us out.
My. Wow, eh?
Yeah.
So, what is the text about?
So we're talking about how to convince people to buy things when you're in advertising company and you're writing about it for in a maybe a magazine or in the newspaper or something, and you want people to try and buy your product, but he says you have to be in good health for them to believe it.
Why is that so? Why good health is the most important thing, the first requirement for success in advertising?
Because you cannot convince people to buy something if you are not able to use the product yourself.
So whatever you advertise, you should be healthy, to promote that product.
That's right. And they give a couple of examples with dyspeptic, meaning you can't digest properly, or rheumatism means that you wouldn't actually enjoy the mountain road in an automobile.
So our sin will find us out. What does that mean?
are sin. So in this case, the sin means the lie. That means you don't actually believe what you're trying to sell because you weren't able to enjoy it yourself.
So the answer is
Number 5.
People will see whether you are honest or not in our advertisements, right?
That's right. People will see whether we are honest. So that's the sin, right? The lie.
So you should believe in the product you are advertising, eh?
That's right. And if you don't, people will know.
I see. So let's take a look at each option. The first one.
The first one reads, bad health will lead to poor decisions in times of crisis.
So it talks about good health, but it's not the answer, right? It's
That's
about
right.
The bad health doesn't lead to poor decision.
Yeah, and it doesn't talk about crisis.
Crisis,
Yeah, so there's many clues here that say this is not the correct answer.
And number 2?
We will lose opportunities to cooperate with our colleagues. So opportunities, okay, advertising, but no, we're not talking about cooperation and work.
No. They didn't even mention, colleagues. Eh?
They didn't even mention colleagues. Yeah.
And number 3?
Consumers are not inclined to purchase low-quality products.
Low quality products, they didn't talk about it,
No. And the last option is copywriters are always faced with a temptation to exaggerate.
True.
Maybe it's true.
But it's not about the content text. Eh?
That's right. Copywriters might say, oh, this is the best product ever, right? So that's an exaggeration. But it's not talking about exaggeration. It's talking about being honest.
You gotta be honest when you promote or advertise something, right?
And here in our PPT, it says, be honest.
That's right. All right, then. That's all for today, huh?
Ooh, chapter 3 done.
Chapter 3 was a little difficult, but we made it, huh?
We did it.
We did it. Okay, then. We will see you in chapter what?
4.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.